Are you looking for a makeup tutorial that is perfectly suited for neutral olives, but you want to use affordable drugstore products and stay a while? I'm going to show you how to get this look. Hey guys, it's Lexi. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're doing a drugstore affordable makeup look that is suited for us neutral olives. So I'm going to be going through a lot of my favorite products, but not only the products, I'm going to show you how to get it, the techniques I like to use. This is one of my favorite sort of looks, and all of these products are just phenomenal. They're great products, great formula, great price. It's a win-win-win-win-win. So let's get right into this look. So first things first is always going to be skin prep. You want to make sure your skin is nice and ready and prepped and hydrated before we go in with that makeup. Now, depending on your skin type, your skin prep can vary. I have normal balanced skin and I like to keep it pretty minimal with my skin prep in general. I think that's important when it comes to makeup because sometimes if you layer too many products on, it can pill. Your makeup can pill. And like I always say, we never want that to happen. I'm going to take a milky toner. I like this one from Bubble. I think it has a nice formulation, a nice texture. It's a little bit on the thicker side. It honestly really reminds me of the Rhode Glazing Milk. If you're familiar with that formulation and that texture, that's what it reminds me of, but it's not as fluid as the Bioma Milky Toner. Another really good option. And I just like to make sure this is nice and patted in. And we're going to let the skin absorb that. I'm just going to run the rest on the back of my hand. Now, similarly to your skin prep, you don't want to forget your lip prep. I like to take some sort of lip balm or lip treatment. The e.l.f. Glow Reviver balms are great. They're glossy, but they're also hydrating, and this is going to nicely prep our lips for that lip combo later on. This one in Vanilla Soft Serve, I think. Soft Serve is delicious. And I just like to apply this onto the lips because this is going to make sure our lips are nice and hydrated and prepped. And once we go in with our lip liner and lipstick and lip gloss, whatever it may be later on, the lips will be nice and plumped and ready for that. I do think lip prep is really important as well as your normal skin prep. And that's pretty much it for the actual skin prep. I like to keep it simple. Like I said, I like to make sure my skin is nice and hydrated, but I don't like to go overboard. Now the next step is optional. I like to go in with a primer. Hard Candy makes incredible primers, especially for the price. I think these are $6 or $7. This is their Blur Unlock primer, and I like to take this right in the T-zone. So that's where I have the largest pores. I take about, I'd say that much, maybe a little bit more. Rub this between my hands, and then I'm going to press this and roll this into the areas that I have the largest pores. So for me, that's around the nose, around the inner cheek area, and the chin. This is going to nicely blur the appearance of any pores, texture. This primer has that sort of standard silicone feeling texture. If you're familiar with the Smashbox Photo Finish primer, it feels like that. Now I'm just going in and I'm lightly spot concealing any areas that I have some blemishes or discoloration. I'm just going to tap that on. It doesn't have to be perfect because we are going to go over it with foundation or skin tint after. Just want to make sure those areas are covered up a little bit. Now that we covered up anything we wanted to get rid of, we are going to go in and do our brows. I love the Morphe brow pencil. I think it is an absolutely phenomenal brow product. I've been using it for what feels like a decade at this point. I'm going to brush the brows up and over. And I'm going to twist my brow pencil up, but I'm not going to bring it too far. I'm not going to bring it that much. I'm not going to bring it that much. I'm going to leave it about there. You don't want to have your brow pencil snap off and break and waste some of that product. And I'm just going to fill in my brows with small hair-like strokes. I'm not coloring the brow. I'm just going with a light hand and filling in any sparse areas. Same thing on the other side. Do you guys have any brow products that you absolutely love, drugstore, non-drugstore? I have been a Morphe brow pencil gal for years, so I've of course dabbled with other brow products, but this is the one that I always come back to. They have a nano brow, and this is the micro brow, both great. And then I'm just gonna brush through the brow hair so that all that product is nice and evenly distributed and blended out, just like so. I'm going to go in and set those brows in place with a brow gel. I think my favorite brow gel is the Rare Beauty one, but this one from CoverGirl is nice too. This is their Clean Fresh Brow Enhancer. Brows are done. Now I have two options for the base. I have the Milani Conceal and Perfect Blur Out Skin Tint. This is a good one. Or I have the Wet n Wild Tinted Hydrator. I've been using this a lot. The only thing with this one is it's so affordable. It wears so well. It looks so beautiful, but their shade range is horrendous. This is the shade Light Medium, and it's a little teeny bit too light. I actually just went to the beach, so I'm a little bit tanner, and I don't think this is going to match me perfectly. So we're going to go in with the Milani Conceal and Perfect Skin Tint. This one's in the shade 07 Light Medium. This is a skin tint stick, so I think this is interesting because usually we see foundation sticks, but this really is a skin tint stick. It gives, I'd say, light to light medium coverage. It definitely gives some coverage, but it's not as heavy as foundation, and it gives a satin finish. So if you're looking for something that's not too matte, not too glowy, this is a really great product. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to apply this to the back of my hand first, just so I can kind of place this where I want. I'm going to pick this up on a foundation brush, and then I'm going to start to buff this all over the face in light tapping motions. I'm not going to swipe, I'm just going to tap, tap, tap. This does a good job at, again, providing that coverage and evening out the skin tone, and it wears really beautifully throughout the day. And you can build this up a little bit. Just gonna put a little bit more coverage on the cheek. And also, I always say this, but I like to avoid the under eye area because I am going to place concealer there. And if you layer too much product underneath that under eye, you're going to have a little bit more of a chance of creasing a little bit further. Now, as I always say as well, creasing is inevitable. We're human, it happens. But to minimize that creasing, I don't like to layer too much product under there. So I like to leave that area blank and reserved for concealer. Now that we have that all blended out and we're looking nice and even, I like to bring it a little bit down my neck as well and on my ear just so that everything is nice and cohesive. Now we're going to bronze and contour the face. Now when it comes to those, I typically like to just go in with a contour. For the purpose of this video, I am going to show you these both on my face because they're great for neutral olive. If you're similar to my skin tone, these shades are phenomenal. So we're first going to go in with a contour. This is the CoverGirl Skin Enhancer Contour Stick. This is in the shade Sculpted. I'm going to apply this right to the back of my hand. You'll see this has sort of a greenish undertone, which actually works out well for us. When it comes to contour, you want it to be a little bit more cool tone, and when it comes to bronzer, you want that to be a little bit warmer. So I'm just going to pick this up with a brush, and I'm going to make sure to coat those bristles nice and evenly, warm up that product. If you're also looking for affordable brushes, the Jessup brushes are great. They're on Amazon, and this is very similar to another popular higher end brush that I also really love. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to apply this right into the hollows of the cheek. And this is going to sculpt our face a little bit further, keeping it pretty close to that ear bone. Depending on your face shape, your hollows or the shadows of your face might be a little bit different, but for me, they're about here. You can see that shadow forming. That is what we want. Whatever's left, I'm just going to bring a little bit down the sides of the nose. Now that we have that, we can go in with bronzer. I think bronzer is one of the most difficult products for someone with olive to their skin because bronzers run orange inevitably and inherently because they are supposed to give that warmth, that sun-kissed effect. But I know there are bronzers out there that are not super orange and they pull a little bit more neutral. So I found, bronzers that lean a little bit more neutral because they work out just a little bit better. They still give that warmth, but it's not going to look like orange all over our face. The Milani Cheek Kiss bronzer in the shade Hey Honey is really, really great. I will show you on the back of my hand. It is a phenomenal neutral bronzer. It's still going to give us that warmth, but it lays so well on the skin too. It wears so well. I'm going to pick some of that up with a brush, tap that off on the back of my hand, just so we can work in layers. I like to do that with my makeup. I like to work in light layers. I'm going to place this on the forehead. I like to keep my bronzer pretty minimal as well, so I'm not going to take this overboard. I actually ordered the Rhode Pocket Bronzers. If you guys would like a full in-depth sort of review on this page for that, let me know because I ordered a bronzer, I ordered a highlight milk, and I ordered a lip liner. I'm most excited about the bronzer because I really want to see if it's olive friendly. I'm just going to lay a little bit of this on top of that contour, right above where we place that contour. I'm just tapping this in, by the way. I'm not really using a heavy hand here. I'm just tapping, making sure everything is nice and blended. And I think that's probably good. Time for blush. This is fun. Now, I'm going to be completely honest with you. I haven't found a ton of drugstore blushes that are the most olive friendly from what I've tried. I'm sure they're out there. I just have not bought, obviously, every single blush at the drugstore. I found a couple that I really like the formula for one. Obviously, that's very important. And two, I like the shade. And I think it flatters us. So I have two options here. I really don't know what I want to go in with. The Versed blush stick in the shade Cozy is a berry and it is phenomenal. It looks so good, especially in the summer. And then we have the CoverGirl Skin Enhancer in Sleepy Mauve. Now, I'm going to argue and say that this is not actually a true mauve. I think it still looks pretty, but it is not a true mauve. It looks good on the skin. I do think it blends out maybe a teeny bit warm on me. And then I think I'm gonna take Versed in the shade Cozy because I think this is just a fantastic product. You know what it is? It leans a little bit more red brown berry. I think it looks really great. So we're gonna go in with that. I'm going to take this on my Morphe M246. This is a slanted cream blush brush. They actually just came out with these. This is from their Oat Latte collection. They came out with like a coffee collection. I don't know if it's out yet, actually. Scratch that. It will be coming out, or it might already be out. I think the Morphe brushes have really great quality, especially for the price. They've always had great brushes. They're some of the first brushes I bought with my own money when they had storefronts. I don't know if you remember when they came out with storefronts, actual stores and malls. They've always had great brushes. So I'm going to apply a little bit of that blush to the back of my hand, pick that up. I'm going to place this on the high point of the cheek. And I'm going to start to work this towards the apple. I like to bring my blush kind of in this formation. I don't know, I like it like that. I like to build up my blush in layers as I do with the rest of my makeup. Blush can definitely get a little bit out of control pretty quickly, so working in light layers is key for me. I'm actually going to take a little bit of that on the bridge of the nose as well. This has a very skin-like finish. It's packed with a lot of skincare ingredients, so it definitely gives you a little bit of that luminosity. Don't worry, we will be setting the face. We are not leaving it this dewy. Not my cup of tea personally, because this will just slide right off my face. Now that we have that, we can go in with concealer. I'm going to take the Essence Silky Blur. I think this is a great concealer. It's going to give us a blurred finish. It says it's hydrating. I wouldn't call it the most hydrating. It honestly reminds me of the Hourglass concealer, but I actually like this one better. I'm not a huge fan of the Hourglass. And I'm going to take this. I'm going to apply this in the inner corner, but I'm not bringing this right up against the lash line, and then the outer corner, just like so. I place it here because I think this gives the most lift to the face. And I'm also not placing it right underneath the eye in those creases because then I don't want the product to settle into those creases. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take a bear paw brush. This is my favorite style of brush. It's this sort of slanted bear paw shape. Great for concealer. And I'm going to start to blend this out. I'm going to tap this in place and work this out towards that outer edge concealer placement. Just like so. You can see that this is going to lift the eye. Making sure this is nice and diffused. And then once most of this is blended, I will bring this under the eye. And you know what, now that I'm thinking about it, this concealer actually sets down pretty quickly. So I should have did one eye and then went in on the other eye, but that's okay, I forgot. But do keep that in mind if you look into this concealer, that it does dry down relatively quickly. As you can see, it still blends. Don't get me wrong, it still blends. It's just you have to work a little bit quicker with it. That's okay. I love this concealer. It is so good underneath the eye. Actually, I'm going to add a little bit more right in the inner corner. I did it again. I applied both sides at the same time. That's okay. Back in with that blush brush just to blend over the edges. Now I'm going to go in and set the face, and depending on how you want to set your face, totally up to you. I have a pressed powder option and a loose powder option. Both are fantastic, and I like to use them together and separately. The Catrice Soft Blur Matte Airbrush Powder is fantastic. Fantastic. What I like to do with this actually is take a puff, go right in before I go in with my loose powder. Tap this off on the back of my hand because a lot of product does get picked up. And I will go in right underneath the eye. This is going to give an airbrushed blurred finish. And I go right underneath the eye. And I'll take this around the T-zone as well. Anywhere I get a little bit more oily throughout the day. Then what I will do is take a loose powder. This one from Morphe. Fantastic. You'll see it has a few different colors. I like to mix the pink and the skin tone shade together. The pink is going to give us some brightness. Mix the two shades together. Tap off that excess. And go in right over top. This is going to make it a little bit brighter. And a little even further airbrush the under eye. These two together play really well. By themselves, they wear really well too. Then what I like to do for the rest of the face is take a brush, because the brush is going to distribute a little bit less product. And if you have any fine lines or wrinkles, I highly recommend going in with a brush. So I like to take this on the forehead area where I have, some fine lines, and tap that on. And a little bit under the cheek as well, just to emphasize that contour. Now that the face is set, we can go in and set the rest of our face where we place those cream products like the bronzer and the blush. First, going to take a powder bronzer. This one has seen some love. This is the Essence Soft Touch Butter Bronzer in the shade Whipped Buttercup. Great option for our skin, okay? This is not a warm bronzer. This is a really good shade. It smells delicious. It's phenomenal. I'm going to pick some of this up and just lightly place this around where we placed that cream bronzer. Again, using a light hand. Just gonna set this in place. This is going to ensure that it lasts a little bit longer throughout the day as well. This formula is incredibly smooth. Highly recommend. Affordable, very affordable actually. Essence makes really great products. Essence and Catrice are fantastic, affordable brands. They make great products. Okay, I think that should be good. Then of course I'm going to add some powder blush. This is the Essence Soft Blur Powder Blush. This one is in the shade Bury Me Later. I'll show you how it looks on the hand. It's a really nice berry shade. It's not super warm. It is the perfect neutral berry powder blush. I'm going to pick some of this up on a powder blush brush. I like to take a brush that is loosely packed. I feel like this distributes the product the most evenly for me. Tap that off on the back of the hand and set wherever we placed that cream blush. Oh, I love this shade. A little bit on the nose. And I like to sweep this a little bit underneath the eye just to sort of blend into that concealer placement. I've been talking for so long. I'm sorry this video is super long. That's why I make YouTube videos, because I like to yap about makeup. That is such a good shade. I can't get over it every time. Now that we have all our powders applied, I'm going to take the Hard Candy Glass Unlock Spray. This is going to mesh everything together. Very similar to the One Size. Very similar. Very affordable. Very good. I love the Hard Candy setting sprays. I've been using them for quite some time now. Look Unlock, great. The Matte Unlock, great. Love these. So I'm just going to take some of that. I like to do this after my powder so that everything, again, melts and meshes together. And then I'll just tap this in, but you'll see it gives a glassy finish. We'll also use that at the end because it does help your makeup last longer too. This has 16-hour wear, 16-hour hold. Now I'm also going to add a few faux freckles, and the product I like to use for this is the Rimmel London Lip Liner in Cappuccino. Not only is it my favorite cool tone lip liner, you can contour with this, you can add blush, you can use this as faux freckles. It's truly phenomenal, truly phenomenal. Right along the face, just a few with a puff. Make sure they're nice and even. Dude, I love this stuff. It is so good. It makes your skin look so fresh. Now for the eyes, what I'm going to do is just take whatever's left on my concealer brush and brush that all over the lid. This is going to get rid of any discoloration. I have a natural warmth to my eyelids, so I like to get rid of that so that we have a nice clean blank canvas to apply any eyeshadow on top of. I'll take whatever's left on my powder puff to set that down and make sure that these shadows apply smoothly on top. I have some options for eyeshadow for you because honestly, drugstore affordable eyeshadow, it's there, right? It's been there forever and it will be there forever. There are some good options. So I think Morphe makes really great eyeshadow palettes. They came out with a few new ones. They have a ton. One that is immediately on my mind, I think the Underslated palette from them is really great if you like cool tones. The Milani Gilded Mini palettes are really great. They have a ton of different ranges. This one's more their smoky one. We have a standard e.l.f. palette. What is this one? This is their Knead It Nude Perfect 10 eyeshadow. Just your standard sort of everyday nudes. One of my favorites from the more affordable side is the ColourPop Stone Cold Fox palette. Look at these shades. Could you need anything else, honestly? I'm going to take the Morphe Underslated palette and I'm just going to take this shade right here, this sort of mauve shade. Picking this up on the M332 from Morphe. If you have hooded eyes, this eyeshadow brush, it's good. I'm just going to buff this in through the crease. I'm going to keep it relatively light for the eyeshadow, so I'm just buffing this in small circular motions and windshield wiper motions. Now that we have that eyeshadow placed, I'm going to take an eyeliner. This one is from Rimmel. This is their Exaggerate eyeliner, and what I'm going to do, and what I like about this is that it has a little smudger on one side and then the product on the other side. What I'm going to do is I'm going to apply a little bit of this to the outer third of my eye. And I like to keep it on the outer third because I don't like to bring it all the way across. I feel like it closes my eyes off. And then I'm going to flip it over. I take that smudger brush and just diffuse this out and form it into a little bit of a wing. just a slight wing. Once it's pretty much diffused, I like to bring the powder puff I used and just sharpen up the edges, make sure that everything looks diffused and the line's not too harsh. Draw the lashes. Now for mascara, I'm going to take the CoverGirl Super Cloud. I love this mascara. If you want length, this is fantastic. And this is their black version. I'm going to apply this on to the lashes. I feel like this just gives the greatest length. It's so good. Then on that same brush, I'm going to pick up that same eyeshadow we used to slightly smoke out the bottom lash line. This will just give a little bit more of a smoky effect. You don't have to do this step. I feel like it ties the whole eye look together. So I always do this. Just a little bit. And I like to focus most of that product on the outer edges. And then I'll bring it through to that inner portion of the under eye. I feel like this mauve shade is really great for olives. Mauve in general is really great, but sort of cooler mauve eyeshadow looks phenomenal. Okay, I wiped off my gloss so we could do our lips. This is a fantastic lip combo. Truly one of the best lip combos I've ever put on my lips, and I think it's $13 combined for both of these. So we have the Catrice Gel Glide Long Lasting Lip Liner. This is in Toffee Talk. It is a beautiful sort of pinky brown shade. I'm going to line the lips. These are nice and long lasting too. So if you're looking for a creamy lip liner, but it dries down, it's long lasting, this is a great option. And this sort of shade is very complimentary on our skin tone. It's so good. And you have time to work with it before it dries down. And then I'm going to take their Filler Supreme in Fairy Tale Filter. This is their gloss and it looks pink. But this is one of the only pinks that I found that really works on my skin tone. Just gonna apply a little bit right in the center and marry the lips together. It's a pretty sheer pink, so it's not overly, pink. It works really great on our skin tone. Fantastic, especially for the price. Going with a little bit more of the Glass Unlock. That is the completed drugstore affordable makeup look for neutral olives. I think these shades are very complimentary for us. They work really well. Those berries for the blush are fantastic. Try berry blush out. I promise you it looks so good. Mauves on the eyes, some brown eyeliner. Black eyeliner works great too. A pinky brown lip. Do you want to see more review style videos of different products, tutorials, more just like chit chat, get ready with me, casual videos? I mean, I try to make all my videos pretty casual. Do you want me to do just like a no cut, get ready with me? I could do that. Anything you want to see, let me know. I want this page to be helpful. Like I always say, for you, fun for you, fun for me. It's fun for me, but I hope it's fun for you too. If you watched till the end, I appreciate you. Thank you for being here. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.